While giving may not be the most popular of topics amongst Christians, this is probably the most regular area of spiritual discipline we engage in. Most churches take up some form of collection or offering on a Sunday, and many of us have automatic payments set to give money to the church directly from our bank accounts. We don't even really need to think about it, it just happens. And so that covers our giving. What does it? Since we engage in spiritual discipline to grow our love for God, this must in some way also be the aim when it comes to giving. So how does that work? And what exactly does giving involve? The first hurdle to overcome is the association between giving and tithing. In fact, the term tithing has pretty well come to mean Christian giving. Actually, it is simply a reference to the Old Testament command for the Israelites to devote to God a tenth, or tithe in Old English, of whatever the promised land produced. 2 out of 3 years, this produce was used for a nationwide feast, and the other year it was set aside for those who didn't have any land of their own. As such, tithing, in the sense of devoting 10% to God, has nothing really to do with Christian giving. There's no set percentage, no set recipient, no set time frame for our giving. Rather, we're to give as we feel led by God. And while the church's teaching on giving generally focuses on money, it can include anything we have at our disposal, such as time, skills, knowledge, possessions, and the like. When I say at our disposal, these resources are ours to use as we see fit. We don't get punished if we fail to give what we have. There's no threat of poverty and hunger hanging over our giving or lack of it. And in fairness, giving can be difficult. It's certainly a sacrifice to give away what is ours to benefit someone else. But while the things we have are ours, in reality this is an illusion of ownership. Money gets spent, time runs out, skills and knowledge fade, and possessions, even if we hold on to them for life, cease eventually to belong to us. Ultimately, everything is God's, and we only have the things we have because God gave them to us in the first place. This is a hugely important point to get clear in our thinking, and unless we really catch hold of this, we will always struggle in this area of spiritual discipline. But when we grasp that freely we have received all that we possess, then we will be able to freely give in return. And remember, giving is not all one way. Jesus said, "It is more blessed to give than to receive." So part of this discipline involves not hiding it from others when we are in need. Instead, if we let others know and give them the opportunity to provide for us, then we are also giving them the opportunity to receive that greater blessing. Writing to the Corinthian church, Paul encouraged them to take time over their giving, to sit down regularly and consider how God was calling them to provide for those in need. Giving presents us with a similar opportunity to seek God and be active in our giving, asking Him when we should give, what He wants us to give, and just as importantly, to whom. As such, hurriedly grabbing some pocket change on a Sunday morning or having a standing order to the church that you rarely even think about cannot really be considered as engaging in this area of spiritual discipline. We need to actively seek God on what to give on a monthly, weekly, or some other regular basis. In addition to this, there are those opportunities that leap out to us without warning. You might hear a passing comment about someone needing to borrow a lawnmower or having to go without electricity due to a lack of funds. You might see someone looking sad and lonely, desperate for company, or someone else struggling to get their car started. We're surrounded by opportunities to provide for those in need. And as we choose to give, seeking and following God's guidance, so we guard our hearts against things that could draw us away from Him, we get involved in the work of His kingdom, and we learn to recognize God's voice.